Hello and welcome back to part 2 of our review of the Ocarina of Time soundtrack. In this part we basically want to look on the rest of the game's music, beginning with the levels. As you all know, Little Link has to master 3 quests before he can open the gate to the Master Sword. And the long and hard work starts when the numbers and size of the levels rise.
What do all of them have in common? Musically nothing, except for fighting music of course. Koji Kondo uses a technique that is called adaptation. As soon as an enemy gets near you, the battle music fades in until you either defeat him or get away from him. This provides more thrill and action into gameplay, and it can also warn you that a potential threat is close by. Oh, and there's also this battle tune when these bony bastards or this gecko freak show up. But back to the levels themselves. They are all fun as hell, but they can get pretty tricky from time to time. That's why it is great to have a soundtrack in the quests that doesn't draw too much attention from the players, yet still maintaining the immersion into the game. The music in the levels is not melody heavy and it doesn't have big chord progressions or anything. Its sole purpose is to be atmospheric, and some of them are so beautiful and fascinating that they create a breathtaking feeling whilst playing. Without these sounds, the levels would miss a giant part of the overall experience. If you hear the theme of the forest temple even after years of playing the game, you just still know from where it is. And not only is this level very dark and mysterious, so is the music. I mean, how the hell can you describe or analyze this music? What is that? It is great to listen to, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Some weird percussion instruments and a few different voice sounds, all with a lot of reverb and one of them with a serious case of hiccups. And nothing more. That is it. That is so mind-blowing for me, because that is all it takes to suck you into this temple and to keep ringing in your ears for decades. But let's get a little hotter now, or even so hot for Nintendo that they had to change it. Many of you may not know this, but the sound that you know from inside the Fire Temple might not be the actual music. For the Nintendo 64, there has been a grand total of 3 different versions of the game, with improvements and changes for every re-release. In version 1.2, however, the music from the Fire Temple was changed due to the controversy it created with the original. I'm not gonna play it out of respect and out of the same reason Nintendo had to remove it, but you can find it on YouTube so you can listen to it and understand what I mean. The original soundtrack is very close to the final version, but with one huge difference. There were actual chants instead of the creepier sounding voices. Nintendo wanted to create a picture of Gorgons who were praying for their safety. For that they used audible Islamic prayers, primarily not a big problem. But while these prayers are mostly sung, it is highly forbidden to interrupt them through talking or music, and of course through sound effects of a game. In the religion of Islam, this is considered highly offensive, therefore it had to be removed.
Just so they are not left out, I should at least mention them. Ice Cavern and Shadow Temple. Musically speaking, not much is happening. The sound successfully enriches the atmosphere. That's it. But now we come to the level that the devil invented. The feared and beloved, the hated and enjoyed Water Temple. Oh my god, have you ever been more lost in your entire life? As a kid, I started the game anew because I thought I messed up. I thought I locked myself out. Everybody who played that game understands that feeling. There was just no way of continuing.
But while you either rage throw your controller out of the window or desperately search for another key and curse the name of the makers of this temple, you might miss out one big thing, and that is the perhaps most complete atmosphere of the entire game. After being in the hottest and coldest places, somehow the game lets you feel the well-tempered water that surrounds you in this impossible quest. And just like in the Serenade of Water, the music of the Water Temple gives a simple decreasing scale to mimic flowing water. Loads of chimes, a flute and a Middle Eastern sounding guitar makes you feel like you are taking a bath in a Turkish hammam. So even if this hardcore, difficult ass level stresses you out, the sound has a relaxing effect. And we finish with another Middle Eastern sounding level. The music is as mysterious as the quest itself. The theme of the Spirit Temple has the longest intro that never gets repeated. You'll only hear it again when you leave and re-enter the level. From then on, some sorts of flutes, strings and bongos are carrying you through the temple. I don't know how you see it, but I think that this track is simply mesmerizing. It suits the atmosphere perfectly and it is indistinguishable to any music, as are all main themes in this game.
But we are not done yet. I know it is a little bit time-consuming to talk about each and every piece of music, but so many of them are so great and noteworthy that you have to address as many as possible. But not all of them, as we have seen before, and sometimes you get into situations that really gets on your nerves, because sometimes you just cannot skip them. And sometimes you could have skipped them, you could have continued, but you accidentally hit the wrong button.
Like with the owl. That damn bird really gets your blood pressure going, man. But the tune, it is catchy as hell. As is the last one that we are going to discuss in this video, and I bet it would be voted for as the best track of the game if there was an election. Flamenco from the Desert hits your face the second the guitar plays this intro. The track Gerudo Valley is simply amazing. Guitars, trumpets, clapping hands, not much, but enough to set the mood for a fiery melody such as this one. I can't quite wrap my head around why exactly it is as great as it is. It has a great drive with an unstoppable melody. Like with most of the tracks, it is barely explainable why it is so catchy. All you can say is that Koji Kondo did maybe the best job of his life on this soundtrack.
Zelda 64 Ocarina of Time is one of my most favorite games of all times. And yes, I am a fanboy, and no, I don't think that it is overrated. When you have something this great, it is absolutely natural that it will create fanboys who will bathe in a sea of nostalgia over the years. That is what marks a great game. It becomes timeless and hard to compete with. And as for the soundtrack, massive, well-balanced, extremely diverse, and just full of beautiful sound.
It is not trying to be the best music in the world. You might get the feeling that it is written for entertainment purposes only, but in reality it is much, much more than that. There is a certain honesty you can detect. A music that is connected to a game on such a deep level is hard to find. Game and sound truly complement each other, and they grant you one of the best experiences of your time as a gamer. And you'll remember those tracks too. They have this weird power to transfer the mood of the part it plays in just by listening to it. You don't need to play the game itself to feel what you felt when you actually played it.
For those of you who have stuck with me through these videos, thank you very much for watching. It was quite hard to write the text of this review because you basically run out of positive adjectives pretty fast and therefore walk the risk of repeating yourself way too often. So please do not forget to leave me your thoughts on the whole soundtrack and on my review of the soundtrack down below in the comments. And for those who haven't played the game yet, do it. Do it. I highly recommend, everybody recommends it. You would do yourself a huge favor. So until next time, thanks for listening.